Hey, Disney Cruisers, and welcome to the DCL community, where we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for those Disney cruises. You guys know me. I'm Rebecca, your host and your admin of the DCL community. And today we are excited because we have an announcement, a big announcement. We've got itineraries.
Woohoo! I'm so
I
excited.
know. I know. Oh my gosh. Okay. So as people are coming in, Chrissy, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Chrissy O'Kane, one of your recommended agents with DCL community. This is such a fun group. I love being part of the community and answering questions without the group, and then being here to share big news like today. This is a great day. I'm very excited.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It is so exciting. People have been asking about these itineraries for months at this
Yeah.
point. So I'm glad that Disney finally released them and people can start planning. So let's go ahead and dive in. As we're going through, if you guys have
Woohoo!
any questions, put those in the comments, but know that you can always reach out to Chrissy. That's a link to her page, and I'll put it in the comments as well. Her planning services are totally 100% free for you to use. So if you want to get booked on one of these Disney cruises, we're going to talk about it, why it's so important to use a travel agent, especially with these big releases.
Yes.
But if you have any questions, reach out to her. She is here to help. But let's go ahead. Let's dive into
Woohoo!
2025.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
All right, so today is a little bit confusing because since the Treasure and the Wonder were already like partially released, we did
Mhm.
already actually have some of 2025. But so what we released today is now we have the full fleet. We know what all the ships are doing, all of them,
Yes.
which is a wonderful thing. And then it's also a really important fact that it's all of them. This is it, everything through May of 2025, which is just so exciting. And then, in addition to finding out the new sailings, we also got the details of the dates that these sailings will be available to be booked. And you guys remember, if you're new to Disney Cruise Line, that Disney Cruise Line booking windows do operate by Castaway Club status. And also, there's a little bit of a bonus perk for Disney Vacation Club members, even if it's your first cruise.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider that they don't open at the same time for everybody. So that's why it's really important to kind of be ready and on the ball so that you can take advantage of your early booking window if you are a previous sailor, and so that you can book right away immediately on opening day if you are a first time sailor.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So many dates and moving pieces, but all very important. So I hope you
Yes,
guys have your pen and paper out.
let's do it. All righty. So I made a page for each ship. I'm really excited. Actually, I lied. There is one page that has two ships on it. So, okay. But,
That's it.
but yeah, so what's each ship doing? So the Magic is the ship that's moving around the most, I think. It's got some really cool itineraries. It's starting off in Galveston, which those sailings have been super popular. So I'm glad they're going to continue for a few months, January, February, and March. It'll be in Galveston. And then it is doing a Galveston to San Juan sailing. And that one is 7 nights. And then it's not actually going to sail out of San Juan, like round trip San Juans, which, we love those. Those are typically Southern Caribbean. This time it's going to basically sail to San Juan, and then it'll sail from San Juan to Fort Lauderdale. So a cool option. You could do both of those back to back. That would be an 11-night cruise, and your flights would be purely within the United States, right? Or maybe, you drive to one of those ports. No, don't drive, because then you'd have the car stuck at that port. So that won't work. Never mind. But I was like, oh, if you're local to one of those ports, you would just fly once and then be home, I guess, right?
Yeah.
We can figure it out. But there's no need to fly all the way to Puerto Rico if you do both of those. So that's cool. I do think these sailings are going to be really popular. Like these ones will likely fill, very quickly, because there's just one of them. That's it. One to San Juan, and then one San Juan to Fort Lauderdale. And then the Magic's going to be in Fort Lauderdale for most of April, doing 4 and 5 night sailings, and then it's moving to Port Canaveral, and this is really exciting. It's been a really long
Yes.
time that the Magic has been in Port Canaveral. I meant to Google that before we started, and I forgot, but just trust, like, long time, many,
So
many, many years,
I
like
was
since
going
the
to say
original launch.
the Magic is coming home,
The
where,
Magic's
dare
coming
I
home.
say,
I
she
know.
belongs. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So
I
that's super exciting. I'm personally going to be booking Magic for the first week of May of 2025. It's not because I think it's a special sailing; it just like aligns with family birthdays, and so I'm really excited to get to celebrate on the Magic. So I'm really excited. So if you guys want to sail with me, May 2025 on the Magic, let's do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh, Cruise with Chrissy. I love
Cruise
it.
with Chrissy, let's do it.
Yes.
All right, and then the Wonder, this one, like, there's no surprises here. So we already did know the first 2 months of the Wonder. It's finishing up in Australia, then it's cruising to Hawaii from Australia, and then it's cruising from Hawaii to Vancouver. And then it's going to do some fun new stuff, right? Vancouver down to San Diego, a few sailings out of San Diego, and this is exciting that they're going to have 4, 5, and also 7 nights. So my West Coast clients have gotten used to these like really short Baja sailings, and now you guys have a long sailing option. So I'm excited for you guys. And then it'll sail from San Diego back up to Vancouver the very last week of May. And then we expect the Alaska sailing to be announced in the next release, because the Wonder will be ready to go in Vancouver for the start of that season.
Yes, and I know we are well, words. I know we're already going to be asked, okay, when's summer going to be released?
Mm-hmm.
When do summer itineraries typically get announced?
Yeah, so they're released seasonally, right? So right now it's like the start of, so I always say like the season before, the year before, right? So right
Mhm.
now it's like fall of 2023, and now we just got the launch of winter of 2025. So I would expect that summer will be released in spring of 2024. So next year,
Yes.
spring. So next season, basically about every 3 months, kind of seasonally, quarterly, however you want to predict it. However, they could change at any time. That's just what they've done in past history.
Yes, yes. And I have to ask because we get this question about, okay, well, the Magic and Wonder, they're the older ships. Are we
Mhm.
still going to have a good time on board these
Oh
ships?
my goodness, yes. And we do have a question in the chat that will this be available to watch later? And absolutely, all of these
Yeah.
videos. I just commented earlier that these videos live forever on the YouTube channel, so go
Yes,
check them out.
yes, it will be there.
Um, but the Magic and Wonder, while they are the older ships, they also are the most recently renovated ships, so that's cool. They've got some really
Mhm.
neat, fun amenities on them on board, and they've had a nice refresh. And then they are smaller, and that makes them that's a bonus, you guys, like a big bonus. One, it makes the Wonder in Alaska makes it more maneuverable, and it makes it all of your port stops a bit more approachable because there's just less people with you. So it's really
Yeah.
nice when compared to once there are some really big ships sailing Alaska right now, not on Disney Cruise Line. And then on the Magic, it's just like so special when you're at Castaway on the Magic, and there's just so fewer people compared to on the larger ships. So that's a really special thing, which we're going to talk about, kind of some things to look at with those Caribbean itineraries soon. But
Yeah.
it's something to consider. The smaller ships still have so many amenities on board, and they have this nice, wonderful, intimate vibe, and I think it's really special.
I was going to say, do not discount the Wonder and the Magic. I know that I say this all the time, but if somebody told me that I was old when I was 25, I would have looked them up and down like, excuse me? So they, like Chrissy said, they both are the newest renovated.
Hmm.
And they both have that Encanto experience, which none of the other
Yes.
ships have. So if your kids live in Encanto,
Hmm.
might be worth checking out. So let's talk about what's next, the Dream.
The Dream. So the Dream is chilling in Fort Lauderdale. The Dream's loving Fort Lauderdale. It's going to be there, and we all need to start loving Fort Lauderdale and embrace Fort Lauderdale. Rebecca and I did a video about Fort Lauderdale before already, but
Yeah.
remember that Fort Lauderdale is a year-round contract for Disney Cruise Line, so we need to love Fort Lauderdale. We're going to be sailing out of there a long time, but these are mostly 4 and 5 night sailings, and then in May there are some 3 night sailings, which is new for Fort Lauderdale. So that's exciting, from some really short, quick weekend way for you guys, you Florida people that want your quick sailings. You're getting them.
Yes.
Exciting.
And for those who don't know, what is Lighthouse Point?
Oh, so it's a great question. Thanks. I just, like typed this up like everybody knows, right? But
Mhm.
no, Lighthouse Point is Disney's new private island, which is still in construction. So no
Mhm.
guest has visited it yet, but will be launching soon. Very exciting. A lot of similar features to Castaway, but bigger, newer, and it's got all the Disney bells and whistles.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want that ultimate Disney experience, those itineraries that do Castaway and Lighthouse Point
Yeah,
are gonna
do
be
them
right up your
both.
alley.
Yes. So and what is the community calling those sailings? Like, it's not a double dip, the sailings that visit Castaway twice. I was calling them the compare sailings, but like that's a very boring
Ye
label. I feel like we need to come up with like
yeah.
a catchier
I was gonna say, if
term.
anybody watching knows, because I know
Yeah.
there's the Full House, right, if you've done all of them, but I'm
Hmm.
not sure what we're calling the extra double dip. It's like a double dip with a
Yeah.
cherry on top, so
Right.
let us
Yeah. What are we
know.
calling those when we visit both? I'd like to know.
Yes.
So then the fantasy, this is super exciting. And I was for one, I will admit that I was very surprised by this decision, by this announcement, but it's awesome. The fantasy is going to be staying in Port Canaveral, which is probably like the best news of Rebecca's day. I know that
Yeah.
fantasy is Rebecca's favorite ship. A lot of people love the fantasy. I'm honestly surprised that Disney will have 3 ships sailing out of Port Canaveral. It's interesting. It's half the current fleet, but okay.
Mhm.
But it's neat that it's offering 5-night sailings. And so it is doing 3, 4, and 5-night sailings. But I will say, like, over half of these are 5-night sailings. So most of them are 5-night sailings. And that is such a cool opportunity throughout the whole cruise industry. 5-night sailings are like making a comeback. They used to be really popular. And then everything became 3, 4, and 7. So that would like line up with the calendar nice and pretty. And then, oh, I
Mhm.
lost a headphone. 1 second. But then the 5 nights are making a comeback, and they are really fun. I really like them. They're like a kind of not too short, not too long, and they offer guests some really cool opportunities. I think we're going to see them. You guys, we see those 5 nights out of Fort Lauderdale became the Marvel Day at Sea. I can definitely see some theme nights happening here because they do have a sea day in addition to port days. So, spoiler alert. I think that would probably be coming, and that will be really cool.
Could you imagine? I know there have been rumors with, oh man, what is it? The Star Cruiser that's
Mhm.
no longer.
Mhm.
Could Star Wars Day at
Could
Sea
it be
come back?
back?
I don't.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Don't,
We've had a lot of questions in the group about that today too. Don't
right?
worry, I didn't forget you guys. It's coming.
Yes. Oh man. Okay. So let's move on to the wish. Oh,
And
and the
then
treasure.
Wish
Yeah.
and Treasure, right? I put them together. Well, they're gonna be sisters together, right? So the Treasure, these itineraries are not new. They have been released. We know what it's doing. It's doing 7-night Western and Eastern Caribbean out of Port Canaveral. And then the Wish is going to continue doing what it's been doing. 3 and 4 night itineraries. These are Bahamas itineraries out of Port Canaveral. And then just to know, there is one exciting 3-night itinerary that visits both private islands. Typically on a 3-night itinerary, it's like Nassau and Castaway and it comes back, or Nassau and Lighthouse Point and it comes back. But this 3-night is not doing Nassau, it's doing Castaway and Lighthouse. So I think that's awesome. And yeah, but also that one is probably going to be really popular. There's just one of them.
Yes. And we have this question. Does that mean that 3 shops can be docked at Castaway or even 2 at the same time?
So not technically, right? So they're all sailing out of Port Canaveral, but you'll see that they're not all departing on the same day, and that they are not scheduled to be at Cat. There's never a day with 3 ships scheduled at one private island. No, but we can start to see some overlapping now that Disney launched 2 private islands. There are also the ships sailing out of Port Canaveral will be visiting Castaway and Lighthouse Points, as well as the Dream out of Fort Lauderdale is also. So that's 4 ships between 2 private islands. There is going to be some overlap, and that's something that we're going to need to look at and make sure that we are planning accordingly.
Yes, agreed. And any visit to any of their properties is great, but I feel like Disney's got a good calendar layout. And I know personally for myself, I'm thinking, well, I could do a 5 night on this ship and then tack on a 3 night on this ship
Hmm.
or, and stay at Port Canaveral. If you guys are looking for ideas of
Yeah,
things to do around the port, Chrissy and I did an entire event just about
we
all the
did.
ways and things that you can do around Fort Lauderdale and Port Canaveral and in Orlando. So we can add those links in for you guys because she had so many fun ideas for all ages.
Hmm.
Oh
All right, so this
yes.
is the booking timeline, and again, this is a little bit confusing. So right now, you don't have to wait. You can book every single person on the planet can book the treasure sailings right now, and then every also single person on the planet can book wonder sailings for the South Pacific and the Hawaii sailing. That's January and February. So those are available. Don't wait. Book now before they fill up. But then October 30th through November 6th is when the new sailings on the Wonder, and then all of the January through May sailings on the Magic, Dream, and Fantasy open for booking. Oh, and the Wish. I forgot you, Wish. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oops.
We'll put her on there.
We'll
She's
put it
there
on
in
there in our
spirit.
minds. Yeah, she's there in spirits. So those open beginning on October 30th for Pearl Castaway Club members, and then Platinum on the 31st, as well as Golden Oak Club, which are residents of Disney's community in Orlando. And then Gold Castaway Club members, Silver Castaway Club members, and also along with the Disney Vacation Club members, even if you haven't sailed before on November 2nd. And then everybody on November 6th. Bookings open at 8 a.m. online. Sometimes they've opened a little bit earlier, like 7:45. I've noticed. I've been able to get in there and get them set before an 8 o'clock meeting. So I know they've
Wow.
opened early at times. And if you do want to be booked, I would suggest having a conversation with your recommended travel agent now. I can
Yeah.
view all the sailings. We'll find you your perfect stateroom. I'd like to create like a priority list. 8 a.m. Eastern. Thank you for that question. Eastern, not Pacific. Eastern. Every Disney Cruise Line, like it's like they think only Eastern time exists. Everything
Yeah.
is Eastern.
Mhm.
Um, so, but you want to be on a booking list now so we can start finding your perfect stateroom. What I do for my clients is we'll kind of like, I'll show you all of the current availability as soon as I'm available to view it. I am available to view it on Platinum Day. And then we'll pick your favorite staterooms and kind of like rank them in order, maybe like 3 or 4. And then immediately upon booking, I will go and put your top ranked stateroom on hold for you so that you have 3 days to kind of consider it before that deposit is due.
Awesome. Okay, and that was gonna be one of my questions is, the pricing can vary, right, from
Mhm.
what we're seeing online now. So, is that something that you have access to? You said you have it as soon as Platinum is
I view it
open,
on
right?
Platinum Day, correct? Yeah, so I can
Okay.
send it to all of my clients. Every travel agent is going to be different. So mine is Platinum Day. It's my personal status. That's when I
Yeah.
can log in and view everything. But so I'll view it and I will send it, pricing to all of my clients on Platinum Day. We just can't book for that client under their Castaway until their Castaway Club window opens.
Okay.
And then I also see a question about using a placeholder. And yes, those do need to be called in to book, whether you are having your agent do it for you, if it's booked under that agent, or whether you're doing it yourself, you do need to call. You cannot book a placeholder online.
Yeah, so I would say reach out, and I can put that link up on screen again. Reach out to Chrissy, reach out to the recommended travel agents in the group, have those conversations about where you want to travel, when, what your budget is, who you're traveling with. Start planning now so that when those dates come, I mean, Chrissy, you would know better than me, but those hold times when these
It's
itineraries
so
open
much.
up
Yeah.
are insane. You do not want to be on hold for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours
All day.
waiting to book. So reach out, let these travel agents, their services are totally free. Chrissy's services are totally free. Use her as a resource. She's here to help.
Hmm.
And speaking of the different tiers, if I am a platinum cruiser, I am a platinum cruiser, but if I'm a platinum cruiser or
Woo!
silver cruiser and I want to go on this next cruise with my in-laws who have never cruised before, can I book for them that same day or do they have to wait and book on their own?
Well, you can book with them if they're sharing a room with you.
Okay.
So as long as one platinum guest is the lead guest on the room, then you can book that room. Now you can only book one room per Castaway Club number, or early, like in early advanced booking. So you can't book like multiple rooms. Like you can't decide I want this cruise and that cruise and a million other cruises at your early book window. You got one per Castaway Club number.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't know
but
that.
um, yeah, good to know. If you're sailing and you want to bring sailors with you that have never sailed before and they're in your room, that's still a platinum sailing booking. You just need to be the lead guest. If maybe you're sailing and your friend is sailing, that's also a platinum guest, then I would consider, or if you're both silver, I would consider kind of like booking it with you two in separate reservations and your friends that are sailing with you also, because not only do you get to book on the silver day for the actual cruise, but your activity booking window will be that day as well. So you kind of just spread the perks around a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned a hold. So if
Mhm.
I am still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do, you said it's 3 days?
Correct. It's 3 days without a deposit, and then the deposit is going to be 20% of the total sailing cost.
And does that apply for concierge?
Oh, no, that is not true for concierge. Good call. Yes.
Yeah.
So it is something to keep in mind that concierge is a totally different payment schedule, and that will vary based on the sailing length as well.
Awesome. And for those who don't know about the placeholder question, if you sail on a Disney cruise, a placeholder is kind of an open reservation. So when you book this placeholder, you don't actually have a cruise on the books, but you do get a discount on that future sailing. Again, concierge does not apply, and it can't be combined with any other offers, but you have to call in. So that's another reason you want to go ahead and get that transferred to your travel agent as soon as you get back from your sailing so
Mhm.
that it is easy peasy. You can just email your travel agent exactly what you want or
Yeah.
call them and they can take care of it for you. So if you just got off a cruise and haven't transferred it yet, reach out to
Do
Chrissy.
so.
Get that,
Yes.
yeah, get that taken care of. And then we'll get this question. I'm a first-time cruiser. Is there going to be anything left by the time it gets to me? Are there going to be any sailings
Absolutely.
available?
Yes, absolutely, there will be sailings available. And I would say that of these sailings, like, I don't particularly think that any are going to, like, totally sell out on Platinum Day or even Gold or Silver Day, but it's just that, like, the exact room you want, but, you
Mhm.
need to be some flexible in, right? So we've all seen the post. You can Google it. You can look in the group about like what the like secret ocean view rooms and the secret veranda rooms are. There are certain rooms that people love because they're kind of like priced in a lower category than the experiences due to their location on the ship. There are some people that must be next to the elevator on deck 7. There are some people that want that perfect aft view and don't care that there's with the extended veranda, and they don't care that there's more engine vibrations there, right? So you want to book as soon as you can to get your perfect stateroom, because that's really what's going to start to fill up. Also, if you're a large party, if you're sailing with like
Mm.
multiple families together and you want to all be next to each other, that's also something to kind of take into consideration and book, as soon as possible, or if you're looking for connecting rooms. I wouldn't predict that any sailings will like totally sell out right away, because these are not like the Treasure's maiden voyage or something like that. This is just an
Mhm.
extended like the new season. But
Yeah.
there are some sailings that are legit. There's only one of them, right? So the repositioning ish kind of cruises, the Galveston to San Juan, then the San Juan to Fort Lauderdale, and then that 3-night on the Wish that has no Nassau. There's a few sailings. Oh, the 7 nights out of San Diego, I think, are also going to be. I would predict that those will be more popular because that's just something that's new to that market. And so just some different things that I think
Yeah.
some sailings will be more popular than others. Oh, and also those holiday sailings over like MLK weekend, President's Day weekend. Those sailings, again, I don't think that they'll sell out, but we do know that Disney Cruise Line does use demand-based pricing. So as certain sailings start to fill up faster than others, you'll see those prices
Mhm.
increase faster than others. So booking early is just always recommended.
Yes, agreed. And then somebody saying they saw a 3-night with just Castaway. So does that mean that you're overnighting Castaway?
Yes. So the Castaway, I do not believe that's going to be an overnight. That just means that it doesn't it is only going to Castaway. It's not going to Nassau also. But I don't believe that that's an overnight. We will get more clarification on that once the like full itinerary map is released. Right now, it's just the date, the start date, the end date, and where it's going. But I do not predict that it will be an overnight. That's just my prediction, though.
Yes, yes. There's definitely a lot of perks to those short cruises, but
Hmm.
one that just goes to Castaway, oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Yes, so
Oh,
nice.
right, dreams come true. Okay, let's roll into New Orleans and New York. Yes, I'm so glad that you have these on here.
Yeah, so we're starting. I tried to really look through the group today and see what questions we were seeing. And
Yeah.
this question comes up a lot. New York doesn't typically come up because it's not this is not typical in this season, right? We got New York a lot last season. Where is New York? This release,
Mhm.
I think that we did expect. In previous years we saw New Orleans, and there are not going to be sailings out of New Orleans or New York January through May of 2025. That doesn't mean that there will never be sailings out of New Orleans or New York again, but it does mean that if you are looking to sail in January through May of 2025, do not wait for an announcement about when they're sailing out of New York and New Orleans, because we do have the entire fleet now. So it is not like, well, maybe when they launch this ship or launch that. Nope, this is it. This is all the sailings. So, consider other ports, or, you can consider waiting for a different year, but we can't guarantee of when these ports will come back into rotation.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Do not wait to book
Mhm.
these. The poor Disney doesn't have a secret extra ship where he's going to somehow reroute
Correct.
everything. But I know there was a lot of upset Disney cruisers about San Diego, but San Diego is now back, right? So
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
things change. The fleet is growing. If this
Hmm.
is something that you care about, reach out to Disney Cruise Line, give that feedback, right? There's an email that you can contact them. But trust me, with how popular these ports are and how much demand there is, they're not they're
They're
not gonna be
listening.
gone forever. Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
always other
Yeah.
cruise lines if that's what's really important to you, and Chrissy
Yes.
can help you coordinate with other cruise lines.
Absolutely. And then
Oh,
similar but different, right? Instead of starting port, itineraries, right? So we're also seeing like, but what about Alaska and what about Europe? These itineraries are seasonal. So Disney does Caribbean itineraries year round, but the other itineraries are seasonal. So Alaska is typically May through September, and that's with almost all cruise lines. So we'll expect that to be in the next announcement. And then Europe is typically in the summer. So again, we'll expect that in the next announcement. Alaska, we can pretty much know is going to be on the Wonder because the Wonder is already ready in Vancouver. But Europe, I mean, it could be anybody, but most likely it's going to be Dream, Fantasy, or Magic. I would say it's unlikely that they would take one of the newer flagships over there. They're just so big.
Yeah.
But they could. There are bigger ships doing it. So we'll see. Never know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. With how the fleet is growing, it'll be very interesting to see where they start to move the different ships around to. And as these itineraries are becoming available, like I said, reach out to Chrissy. She gets notified as soon as these are open. So if you have your eyes or your mindset on Alaska for 2025, send her an email now with all the details, your
Yeah,
family,
we'll
the
be
number of
ready.
people traveling, and she can go ahead as soon as that's ready and send you that estimate, that quote, and get you booked. It is so seamless.
Mm-hmm.
And then I missed this question about the placeholder. So if it's May of
Mm,
2023, anything longer than 30 days, you're going to have to
yes.
call. So
Yes.
just keep that in mind. If you are using or if you are booking like a guarantee rate on something, which there's
Mm-hmm.
probably not going to be any
Not
guarantee
yet,
rates
but
on these,
yeah.
or concierge, the placeholder won't apply.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say still reach out to
And
Chrissy.
there are also 3 dates in April that have been listed. They're all in the Wish, I believe. But there are 3 blackout dates already listed for April for placeholder, and it's spring break cruises. So
Got
just
it.
keep that in
Okay,
mind.
good. Yes. So other good thing to keep in mind. Thank you for saying that
Hmm.
because you cannot use as placeholders there.
Bonus slide. So you guys know this is how I like to end my presentations before we just get into questions. And so we've already seen so many questions about like, what about the themed sailings? Because you guys are smart. You know that this is
Yeah.
when the themed sailings are, right? They're January and February and the first week of March. But these announcements don't have that on there yet. And that is typical. Typically, we get the itineraries released without any theme overlay, and then the theme announcement comes later. And if you're already booked on one of these sailings, you'll get a fun email saying that your sailing is
Yeah.
now Pixar Day at Sea, or your sailing is now this day at sea. So again, don't wait. Be okay just sailing without a themed day. If pick your sailing based on the dates, and then it's just a surprise bonus.
Yeah.
We don't have a guarantee that the theming would stay the same year to year. Um, there are some slight rumors about some old favorites returning. That being Star Wars Day at Sea, which I think would be super cool. And I
Mhm.
think that there is a demand for that. And whether that's in replacement of Marvel or in addition to Marvel or replacement of Pixar, which Pixar is the one that replaced Star Wars, or it could be we could see an extension of the Frozen deck party, which we really only saw on
Mhm.
the Alaska sailings and the Northern Europe sailings. And it would be neat to be able to see that in, February and January and like Frozen season here. There's a Frozen 3 movie coming out, right? This is purely Chrissy's idea. So, and then another idea that I was talking with a friend of mine about would be a super cool idea. Again, guys, this is Chrissy's speculation, Chrissy's ideas, Chrissy's hopes and dreams. It's not Disney Cruise Line, right? It would be a Disney Junior Day at Sea. That would just be, I think, really popular, really neat. And also, these January to March sailings will be real, you guys. The reason that they have these sailings during January and February is because it's like the slow season of cruising. It's it increases sales, it increases activities on board, and it generally involves taking kids out of school in order to do these sailings. So it'd be really fun to do a sailing that's kind of geared towards littles that are maybe in preschool, kindergarten, where it's not as like there aren't as many consequences to taking them out of school. It would
Yeah.
like align with the audience that's on these sailings very well. And then on the flip side, it'd be neat to do like a millennial magic sailing because the magic's going to start being there,
Ooh.
right? So what if there was like a Hercules and Hunchback kind of themed sailing, right? So anyway, this is just conversation that I had with a good friend of mine about fun ideas. So
Yeah.
if you think of any of those ideas are fun, message me, let's chat, and then let's send our thoughts to Disney Cruise Line because themed sailings,
Yes.
the announcement will come later, but it could be anything. It could be Pixar and Marvel again. It could be something totally different. I could be totally off base. But I'm very excited. And typically typically this time period, January, February, and that first week of March are when the themed sailing's happening. When there's not,
Mhm.
it's not the Halloween overlay, it's not the Christmas Very Merry overlay, it's not spring break yet, and it's not summer break yet. So they kind of do something to these sailings to give them a little bit of an extra bonus compared to the other sailings around the year.
Yes, and I know look at the question of, okay, but are these worth it compared to other, like, normal sailings?
I mean, especially if you book now before that announcement is made and it's just a happy accident that it gets to be a
Yeah,
fun themed sailing, then it's the same price and you're probably paying way less. If you wait
yeah,
for that announcement, the announcement does typically come with a price increase.
yeah.
Are they worth it? Well, it really depends on you and your interest, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't see an extra added value in Star Wars Day at Sea because I can't. I'm looking at that picture. I don't even know who that is. I'll be honest. So that is me, right? But Pixar and Marvel and the Frozen deck party is like one of my favorite things of all the Disney Cruise Line does, and it's just a deck party. It's not even a full day. So for me, that would make it worth it. There's added activities. There's usually a character breakfast in addition to character meet and greets throughout the day and special merch, which millennials like me we
Yeah,
just love the merch,
yes.
special merch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you mentioned the millennial, I remember back when they had the Hercules
Mhm.
musical on board.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite shows. I would love that, or even,
Mhm.
I mean, the Fantasy has, they have the Frozen show, and then, of course, you
Mhm.
have the Frozen restaurant on the Wish, so
Yeah.
integrating that in, I'm like, "Disney Cruise Line, can you call Chrissy and I? We've got so
Oh,
many
yeah. We've
ideas
got
on theme
ideas.
choices."
Yeah. I'm not saying that Marvel and Pixar aren't great. I'm just
They
saying that
are
there could
great.
be other themes. And, with the Halloween on the High Seas and Very Merry, these are kind of like expensive overlays. There's a lot of investment into the ship's decor and into the programming and the theming. But the rest of these other kind of themed day at sea, this is more of an entertainment overlay than anything else. It's not like the whole ship gets transformed, right? So, like, they could change, it could be anything, you guys. Sky's
Yeah.
the limit. It could be anything.
Oh, so true, so true. I'd love to know if other people have ideas on
Yeah,
potential
let's see
themes.
those ideas.
So questions for you, and you guys, let us know about questions as we're going through this. I'm gonna take this guy off the slide or off the screen for now. But
Mhm.
as we're going through, let us know about any questions. First question: why should I book when the window opens versus wait a couple months and or even a year until we're closer to sale date?
Absolutely. So pricing generally always increases. We do see random offers, like the guarantee rates are typically not available at opening rate. So if you are one of those sailors that prefers to just let Disney pick your room and know that you're saving money, then you can wait for that offer. But I've typically found that those are offered at a discount, but by the time that they are offered, the price has already increased enough that you're basically paying comparable to the price of if you booked right away. So
Mhm.
generally, booking right away gets you the best pricing and also the best availability throughout the ship. It's especially if you're looking for a specific room or multiple rooms altogether. Booking early is the way to go.
Yeah.
And then also remember that Disney, with the exception of concierge rooms, has very very flexible cancellation policy. Of every cruise line, it's the absolute most generous, right? So you have that 20% deposit, and it is fully refundable up until final payment, with the exception of concierge. So keeping that in mind, if your plans need to change, if you need to change your sailing dates, or if you need to cancel, sad day, but it happens,
Yeah.
you can. So there's real consequence to booking early. And all the benefit. But if you want to wait, or especially if you like are unsure about your family's, upcoming, travel plans. I know that 2025 it's tough, like because this is like not really school break time, January through May. So spring break schedule might not be released yet. It might be tough to kind of know when your kiddos are available. Totally okay to wait, but if you are able to book now, there's a lot of benefits.
Yes. And price-wise, just staying on this topic, do you typically see a big increase in price when the Pearl Platinum windows open versus when the general public can?
No,
No.
no, typically not so much. The only thing that can happen is that certain stateroom categories can fill. And that's again, I don't think it's going to happen really on many itineraries, with the exception of those ones that are only offered, very, very limited. So you may see, like all of the interior rooms fill very quickly. There aren't as many of them. Same thing with the ocean view that have the large portal window, or the split room layout. Those things can go very quickly. Standard verandas, there's so many of those, you'll be fine.
Yes.
So that is what we kind of see more so than a dramatic price increase.
Good to know. And I know we spoke about using placeholders. What about DVC members? Is it worth it to use DVC points on a Disney cruise?
Your mileage may vary, but generally, no.
Mhm.
Generally, you get a much better return if you sell your DVC points to an authorized reselling service and then use that cash to book your cruise. But
Mm.
you can still book as a DVC member paying cash on that early date. So, if you haven't sailed before, you can book on the silver booking day, the DVC day, even if you're not using points. You just need to have your DVC number ready or and give it to your travel agent if they're calling for you.
Good to know. And we got this question earlier. Somebody's looking at 7 night, Eastern or Western Caribbean itineraries on the Fantasy versus what's out on the Treasure. And obviously, there is a pretty substantial difference with
Mhm.
the Treasure, more expensive. Do you think it's worth it to go on the Treasure for, she was saying it's a $1,500 difference for her family? Is that how would you respond? How would you work through that with your
Right.
client?
So this is something that, I think that it's a difficult thing for Disney Cruise Line clients because there really hasn't been a new ship in a very long time since the Wish, and the Wish was doing short itineraries. So while it was more expensive, the overall increase wasn't as high because it was a 3 or 4 night difference as opposed to the Treasure, which is a 7 night sailing. So this is a really big difference. Us royal people, we have been through this game. Right, Royal has launched a new ship, and it's been their biggest ship for every year. So I
Mhm.
am so aware of this game, and I can advise very, very clearly on this. So new ships are awesome. I love them. I am a brat, and I like only sail on new ships now. Sorry, oops, I shouldn't admit that, but it's the truth. I love sailing on brand new ships. There's so many new features, and it's a really fun way to explore. But in this case, with comparing the Treasure and the Fantasy 7 nights, you don't get to choose really, like unless your dates are extremely flexible. They're not overlapping. So when the Treasure starts doing those 7 nights, the Fantasy is not. It's doing 3, 4, and 5 nights. So you could look at doing a back to back on the Fantasy to kind of get it to be longer, or back to back on the Wish to get it to be longer. That's probably not going to be very cost effective on the Wish compared to doing just the 7 night on the Treasure. So if your dates are super flexible and you could do like Fantasy now and then or Treasure next summer, then I would really look at what timing works best for your family. Having an
Mhm.
additional year may make that additional cost. You have an additional year to save. Maybe your kids are a year older and a little bit more independent and a little bit more able to do things. Or maybe they're a year older and maybe they're teens and you don't want that. Maybe you want to cruise Disney while they're little. I don't know. I think cruising with teens is fine too. But either way, so it really is going to be what timing is the best fit for your family. But I
Yeah.
love new ships. I would pick a new ship every day. I love new ships.
Yeah, and I was gonna say on the other side of things, I still haven't been on the Wish, which I know is crazy to think about because she's, what, almost a year and a half,
Hmm.
and I know for my family, it just makes sense to do a longer sailing on the Fantasy
Hmm.
versus back-to-back on the Wish. So I would say reach out to Chrissy, have that conversation specifically about your family, what's important to
Exactly.
you, whether it's budgets, days, itinerary, ship, and she can guide you. Now we know so much about what is on the Treasure.
Hmm.
So if there's something on there that's really going to be important for your kids, Chrissy can help you make that
Yeah.
decision so you're not kind of on an island by yourself.
Hmm.
Okay, other questions for you. So I did just want to pull up again when to book.
Yes, the
So
booking dates.
everybody's got this. So do you want to run through this one
Mhm.
more time for everybody?
Yeah. So, Pearl Castaway Club members are Monday, October 30th. And then Platinum and Golden Oaks are Tuesday the 31st, which is Halloween. And then Gold Castaway Club members are on Wednesday, November 1st. Silver and Disney Vacation Club on November 2nd. And you guys, for those of you that are not aware, you're a Silver Sailor after you've completed your first cruise. Right.
Mhm.
So, if you have ever cruised Disney, even if it was a long time ago, call me. I have had an adult that cruised when they were 4, and we can find you. You have a
Yes.
Castaway Club number. So you are not starting fresh. Okay.
Yep.
But so Silver Castaway Club members and Disney Vacation Club members are booking on November 2nd. And then there is a little bit of a pause. And the reason for that pause, let's do math, right? Is that all of those 3-day holds will have expired at this point.
Mhm.
So we'll actually probably see a bit of inventory released back on the 2nd, 4th, and 5th when those first booking windows have those initial holds have expired. There are not that many people that put a sailing on hold and then decide not to do it. But there are some that decide to wait, or there are some that decide to switch dates or switch rooms, or, oh, I invited 10 friends, so now I need to switch rooms to one where they can all be near me. Like, stuff happens.
Yeah.
So by the 6th, all of the full inventory, all those holds will have expired, and we'll have a full inventory, and general public opens for first time
Awesome.
sailors.
And then I have to ask, because I know we're going to get this question of, okay, well, I can just go online and do it myself. So,
Mhm.
Chrissy, why, whether someone is going to reach out to you and use you as a travel agent or any of our recommended travel agents, why is having a travel agent so beneficial when it comes to cruising with Disney?
Yeah, and Rebecca and I also have a full video on this of like how to choose your travel agent and what services travel agents offer and what questions to ask your travel agent to make sure they're the best fit for you. But really, the way I got an email today from somebody that's transferring their appraisal order to me, and she said that the reason she chose me is my energy and excitement, and my excitement about their trip. And that's, I think, really like the biggest benefit that a travel agent has, that you have somebody that's excited about your trip for you. And your travel agent makes sure that you are getting every possible benefit out of Disney Cruise Line for your sailing, right? You're not going to miss your onboard booking, your onboard activity booking date. Also, we're going to make sure you're paid on time. That's the first important date.
Yeah.
And then we're going to make sure you have the best stateroom. We're going to be there to answer all kinds of questions, right? So I have some clients that are like, hey, just book my stuff. I don't really want to talk a whole ton. I'm busy. That's totally fine. You're busy. I'll do the job for you. I'll plan it out for you. And then I have some clients like, I have so many questions. Can we talk every day? Sure, I got you. Just email me. Let's do it. So you really just have somebody in your corner that's going to make your sailing a great experience. The recommended agents in our group, all of our services are free, and we also kind of specialize in different things. So browse through our list, and you can see kind of who might be the best fit for you and your family. I love cruising in general. It's not just Disney Cruise Line. Like, people call me the cruise queen. I will move onto a cruise ship someday. It's starting to be earlier and earlier and earlier in my life. It's happening. Very excited.
I love
Um,
it.
but I love anything on the ocean. Let's do it. I'm also very passionate about kiddos with special needs and making sure that we accommodate you as best as we can, and really work that in to have everybody have a magical vacation. Regardless of level of need. I think it's something that can totally be accommodated with Disney Cruise Line.
Yes.
Um,
And adult
but you can
only
look
travel
through.
too.
And yes, and adults only travel, all the travel, long sailings,
Yes.
Alaska. I love all things Disney Cruise Line. But you can browse through our recommended agents. We just had another agent do a video on babies and toddlers that I learned so much from. I still don't know if I ever want to cruise with baby or toddler. I'll be honest. I kind of
Yeah.
love cruising, just me and my dude. But
Yeah.
it's us.
Yeah.
But yeah, look through and kind of find somebody that you think similarly, has a similar vibe to you and can answer your questions, because this is a big investment and you want to make sure you get
Yes.
everything out of it.
Yeah, so true. And I know you guys might be wondering, right? I'm not a travel agent, but ever since
Mhm.
we switched to using a travel agent years ago, we used to book direct and we switched to someone else. And then we started using travel agents. And it is mind blowing how much time and money they can save you. So,
Absolutely.
again, reach out, use them as a resource. Their services are totally free. And if I'm a self-proclaimed control freak, right? I'm very type A. I have lists everywhere. And if you're someone that's like, I just want to book my own cruise, go ahead. You can book it on your own if you
Mhm.
really want to. Just make sure you don't pay in full, and then you can
Yeah.
still transfer it to your travel agent within 30 days of booking. You have to do it within 30
Mhm.
days. That is Disney's policy. That's not ours.
Correct.
And then you can, have that control that some people like,
Mhm.
and then just transfer it over, right? Build that trust, but
Yep.
start building that relationship now, like Chrissy was saying. Have those conversations about what you're interested in, what your kids like to do, what you like to do, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the
All your
kids,
interests, your whole crew.
right? And then you can work with Chrissy to find out, okay, there's a lot of itineraries. As much as we
Mhm.
love Disney Cruise Line, their website isn't the most user friendly. You
Right.
could be
Right, like,
scrolling
it's unclear. It's
ridiculously.
still unclear about whether that castaway is an overnight, right? So,
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
there's some unclarity. Is that
So,
a word? Unclarity? It
um,
can't be.
yeah, yeah. In our
Okay.
world, yeah, sure. Right? I don't
Mhm.
know. We can make up words all the time. We're like, who came up with supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right?
We
But
promise.
use Chrissy as a resource. I know I've said that 1,000 times, but as you're trying
Mhm.
to make these decisions and figure out what's gonna be best for your family, it's just that peace of mind of having somebody to talk through it with, rather than
Yeah,
feeling like you're on their own or you're on your own. Because I
absolutely.
know as the primary vacation planner in my family, all that stress and pressure would fall on me, but instead I just call my travel agent and it's taken care of. I don't have to worry about
Absolutely.
anything else. So I'm excited. Chrissy, I know you mentioned booking May. Are there any other
Mhm.
itineraries that you have your eyes on for 2025?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, well, for 2025, so there's a lot going on in my life personally in 2024 that makes 2025 a little bit tough to plan for, but all exciting things and good things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking at that first week of May 2025. We typically travel for Thanksgiving and for my husband's birthday because not mine. Mine
No.
is in July. It's like too hot. We don't do anything.
Yeah.
We don't do anything fun on my birthday. Also, like, I'm older, so I just like to pretend it's not happening, you know?
Oh.
But, so we'll cruise for his birthday in May, and then we are booking for Thanksgiving also. We have 2 other sailings on a different cruise line in January and then in May of this year. But for 2025, for these January through May bookings, I'm so excited the Magic is coming back to Port Canaveral. And then I'm also
Mhm.
considering doing one of the San Diego sailings or the Pacific Coast sailing at the very end, doing uh, San Diego to Vancouver,
Yes, that is
the northbound one. That will be in place of the Magic. So that was my initial thought. I was like, I'll do that. And then I'll be on the first sailing for Alaska and kind of do them back to back. But I think we're going to do the Magic out of Port Canaveral. Just personally, with everything in our lives, I think that might make the most sense at that
yeah.
time.
Oh, well, you guys can tell Chrissy's already going to be calling and booking for herself
Mhm.
and her family and for several of her clients. So go ahead, reach out
Mhm.
now, get on her list so that when these open up next week, crazy to think
Next
about it, but it's
week.
next week.
Crazy. Yeah.
So when these open up, like we said at the start of this, the phone lines are going to be crazy. Sometimes the website crashes because there's so many people.
Yes.
Take a deep breath.
Mhm.
Have patience, be kind to the Disney if you end up calling, be kind
Mhm.
to the
Be
people on
kind.
the other side of
Yes.
the phone. But again, you can get rid of all of that if you just work with a travel agent who can help take care of all of that for
Mhm.
you, and then you just get a nice little email saying you're booked.
You're booked. Also, I forgot Valentine. I'll be on Valentine's for the treasure. I don't know why I didn't remember that. I was like, hold on, wait, I forgot about that.
I
That's
do
also
the
happening.
treasure over
So,
Valentine's Day. That sounds
yes, do
amazing.
that.
Oh my gosh, we can double
Yes.
date on the treasure.
Double date. Yeah, leave the boys at
Oh my
home.
gosh.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
yes.
But be my
Oh,
Valentine on the
I
treasure.
was gonna say, if you guys need Chrissy or I, we're gonna be hanging out on the
Mhm.
treasure in
Mhm.
2025. But thank you
Let's
all
do
so
it.
much for joining. Chrissy, thank you for your time. If you guys have any
Absolutely.
questions, you know where to go. That link on the screen, and we'll get this in the comments as well for everybody. I am so excited to hear what everyone ends up booking next week. But we
Mhm.
will see all of you all on board real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.